What up, everybody? It's your boy LJ. Welcome to another episode of Wiseguy Dojo. We're gonna continue our series Why Christians Lose today. I believe this is episode 6 6. Today we're gonna be talking about individuality. I started the series. Let me just do a little disclaimer here. I started the series Why Christians Lose, not as an indictment against Christianity or that I'm against Christianity because like I said, I'm a Christian or whatever. But I was raised in the Christian faith, and I've been growing up in it, and there's a lot of growing for me to do. No, that's not, so it's not me looking down or looking from a place of like superiority at, other Christians or whatever. But God has blessed me with an analytical gift. Like, I just take things and I analyze them. I break them down. I say, okay, well, why is this doing this? Or why is this not doing that? And it's one of the gifts God have given me. And one of the things I've been doing is I've been kind of analyzing like who God is and like who God is just totally and who we are in the earth. And it's like some stuff just not adding up, long story short. So I've been kind of like picking out different things that I've seen that don't add up, different reasons why, God's superiority, God's, masterfulness, God's, all power having, all might having, all connection having, all knowledge having, being, he's in us, he's connected to us. But it seems like we're like the Christian faith as a whole has been holding so many L's, and it's not L's that God ordained for us to hold, so to speak. So that's why I did this series. I love being a Christian. I feel like right now, I think I said this in my last vid, is the probably the best time. It can feel like one of the worst times because of the immense amount of scrutiny and judgment and like tribulation that the faith is going through. But it's definitely one of the best times to be a Christian because a lot of people are waking up and realizing that Jesus is Lord. That Jesus he reigns supreme. That God is in control, that it's not about, life is full of opportunities and things like that, but it's not about those opportunities. It's what those opportunities can do to advance the kingdom and advance the voice of God in the earth. Okay. But anyway, getting to the point that we had for today, individuality is extremely important in any lane. Individuality, I usually, I'm usually kind of freestyle with these videos, but, I wanted to give some definition before I get started with individuality. Individuality is the state of being distinguished from the same kind. So if you have, if you have a kennel of dogs, you have all German Shepherds, and then you have a particular German Shepherd who came out, he's all white or whatever. That German Shepherd is distinguished from the rest. So that makes him a special individual. So if you have 5 Mercedes Benzes and they're all black, and then you buy another one and it's green, that particular green one is distinguished from the rest. So even though they're all Mercedes Benzes and they all operate the same, there's a distinguishing quality, with the green Mercedes. There's a distinguishing quality with the white German Shepherd. So when it comes to living for God and when it comes to actually carrying, God in us and carrying him throughout the earth, in us through our lives and things like that, we have to make sure that we understand who we are and we understand what's distinguished about us. I was talking to some young adults a few weeks ago, and they were talking to me about how, like, just these days, everybody looks and sounds the same. Everybody wants to be everybody else. Everybody wants to sound like the next person, dress like the next person, talk like the next person, and stuff like that. And, fashion and, whatever is drippy and waving, now that's cool. That's part of life. Okay. Because it was a time where people was all wearing bell bottoms and, heels with the goldfish in them and stuff like that. Like, dudes was wearing heel platform shoes. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you get straight blades for that. But it was part of the fashion. So it's nothing wrong with that. But when you begin to tie your identity into being like everybody else, then you lose your distinguishing qualities. Okay. And if you lose your distinguishing qualities, then you lose what makes you strong. For an example, I could take it to the Bible. I could take it to regular life. In the Bible, everybody knows the story of David and Goliath. David was, long story short, a shepherd boy who God raised up to be king, but he wasn't supposed to be king yet. But one of the things that triggered him becoming king was defeating Goliath. And Goliath was this huge, massive giant of a warrior who everybody was afraid of in Israel, except for David. Excuse me, including the king. Saul was even afraid because he had his tail somewhere, in the back throne room somewhere hiding and whatever, crying. But David defeated Goliath. He didn't defeat Goliath fighting the fight that Goliath was fighting. He didn't even defeat Goliath fighting the fight that Saul wanted him to fight. And in the Bible, it says that Saul offered David his armor and his weapons. Okay? And what happens is David tries to, he tries to go that way. He's like, okay, cool. Let's do it your way. He puts on the armor. He takes the weapons that Saul had and says, okay, let's try it. So the armor that Saul gave him was so heavy that David couldn't even move appropriately. He couldn't even move the way he wanted to move. Y'all forgive me. Somebody called me. He couldn't even move the way that he wanted to move. So he told Saul, listen, I know this is the way you roll, but this is not me. This is not what I came up doing. This is not the way that I see that it should be done. This is not the gift that God gave me. So going back to him being a shepherd boy, the Bible says that he defeated a lion and a bear that tried to attack the flock that he was defending. And he defeated them in different ways than armor and swords and spears and stuff like that. One of the ways that he used to defeat them was a slingshot. Now the slingshot was unique to David. It was unique and a distinguishing quality to David and shepherds. Okay. So when David got to the battlefield, fast forward to when he gets to the battlefield, when David got to the battlefield, if he had taken Saul's armor out there and did it the way that Saul knew to do it, and did it the way that Saul was gifted in doing it, then he might have gotten himself killed. But to this day, because he stuck to his guns, he stuck to how God created him, how God created his genius, how God created his gifting. Okay, he was gifted with the slingshot. So before he went to the battlefield, he had a slingshot. The Bible says he got 5 smooth stones. Okay. Now he didn't wind up needing those 5 because the first one he threw right between the eyes. But the way that he did it, he was an individual in the way that he approached it. Okay. There's a big complaint about like music and different types of art because it seems like everybody's copycatting everybody else. And the thing is that it's not that the music is all bad because it all sounds similar. There's not a lot of distinguishing qualities. Okay. There's not something that says, oh, wow, who's this? When you hear it, because people are doing a lot of copycatting. Like I said, different fads and things will come and go, but there are certain things that are inside of you that God specifically put inside of you is my point. He specifically put a gift, specifically put a way of thinking, specifically put, a voice, whatever your gift is. And a lot of the losses that Christianity is taking is because there are not enough people standing up with their individual gift. There are not enough people standing up being individuals. There are not enough people standing up being called out into the gift and into the way that God have given them. Okay. I was listening to Joel Osteen speak a couple weeks ago when Kanye was there, and he was talking about how he had no idea. First of all, he had no plans on taking over his father's church, but his father had gotten really sick. Joel Osteen was working some kind of like back room, low key type of position, but he was the son of the senior pastor. So when the senior pastor got sick one Sunday, they said, hey, Joel, why don't you fill in for your dad this Sunday? Let's go ahead and preach the message, and we'll go from there. Long story short, after Joel Osteen preached that message, that following week his dad passed, and he had to take over the church. And so, of course, he had his reservations about that, but he did wind up doing it. I guess just being responsible and whatnot. But when he started ministering, he started taking over the church. He started trying to preach like his dad. he started trying to go about ways like his dad, right? Probably because he didn't have a whole lot of preparation, you know, on how to do it. So he's just like, hey, listen, I'm just gonna do what my dad did. But when he did that, he wasn't really successful at it. I forgot the words he used, but it didn't really stick like that. Okay. But what he did say is that God came to him and said that there's no anointing for you. There's no calling for you to be like your dad. There's calling for you to be like you. And so, you know, everybody knows who Joel Osteen is. Love him, hate him, indifferent. Everybody knows who Joel Osteen is, and you know he's real laid back in his delivery. He usually opens with some sort of joke, anecdote type bit and things like that. That's just because that's his way. And thousands of people are ministered to every week. Thousands, millions of people are ministered to every week because Joel Osteen decided that, okay, this is my way of doing it. They gotta love me. And sometimes you gotta decide, they gotta love me. Now, little side note, this is not saying that those things that God is working on in you and those things that are not of God or things that are not pushing the kingdom or even, you know, making you the best person that you can be. If those things like people don't have to accept those things about you. We still have to love you and we should still be loving you, but we don't have to accept those things about you. Okay. Every time somebody bump into you, you cuss them out. Oh, that's just me. You need to accept me for me. No, we don't. We don't have to accept that part of you. Love the person, but hate the sin. So I'm obligated to love you, but I don't have to love how you operate. I don't even have to accept it. There's no Bible for that. I'll let that settle in. But I wanted to make sure that I illuminated these different stories that show that what a lot of us need to do. I'm encouraging y'all. Get into prayer, get into the Bible. I'm going to do a video specifically about how to go into reading the Bible. Figure out who you are in God. Find out what your gifts are. What do you do well? What do you do well without even trying? What do you do better than most people without even trying? That might be one of your gifts. And your gifts are usually attached to your calling in some way or another. Okay? And so a lot of people are missing their calling. They're busy trying to be someone else. And my thing is, if I'm busy trying to be you, who being me? It's two yous and no me's. So the people that are supposed to respond to how I am, the people that are supposed to respond to how I teach or how I show love or how I talk or how I dress or whatever, the people that are supposed to respond to that, they don't have anybody to respond to because I'm busy trying to be you. That's something to think about. You know, God, when God created you, he knew what he was doing. He was creating you for a reason. There's a specific problem you're supposed to be solving. There's a specific people that are supposed to be helped by you. There's a specific space that you're supposed to be taking up and dominating. What spaces are you dominating? Are you dominating the space that God gave you? Or are you busy trying to dominate a space that somebody else got? Because you see it and you see them dominate. Oh, I want to do that. You mess around and blow your own opportunities. If you need to see it visually, imagine the situation. I'm sure some people may even have been through situations like this or know somebody that's been through a situation like this. Where I tell you what, y'all remember Family Matters when Steve Urkel was chasing Laura pretty much his whole life. It was one episode I remember when they were talking about they were like in like early elementary school, like was it first, second grade or something like that? He was talking about he remember something. I'm like, dang, you've been chasing this woman your whole life. No, given he eventually got her, but if you guys watched the show, y'all remember it was Laura Winslow and Myra Monkhouse or something like that. And so Myra, when she saw Steve, she was head over heels. Like she couldn't get enough of Steve. She was ready to kill over Steve. It was some episodes she had me crying because she was so crazy about Steve. Like she literally did some crazy stuff. Okay. And so, and it wasn't like superficial. You could tell, rest in peace, the young lady that played Myra, her name was Michelle something. I forgot her, Williams, I think. No. I forgot her real name, but she wound up passing. She had wound up getting ill. She wound up passing, but she did an excellent job playing that role because I grew up really feeling like she loved Steve. And like even when Laura like kind of like fell into it and kind of caved in and started dating Steve, I was never convinced that she loved Steve, bro. I was never convinced. So I say all that to say this. Chasing after something that you ain't called to, or that isn't God's lane for you, is like Steve chasing Laura his whole life, and he even dated Myra a little bit, but wound up leaving Myra to be with Laura. And like I said, it just was, I don't know. Look, Family Matters fans, comment below. Let me know what's going on. I never believed that Laura loved Steve. It wasn't believable. Not in the acting, not in none of it. But Myra, she walked through hell and high water over Steve, man. And so it's like that. You busy going after this because this is what you think you want, but God got something that is just, it's so for you, it'll go through hell and high water over you. And like I said, that could be your calling, that could be a job, it could be relationships, it could be anything. So what I want you to make sure that you are. I might do a part 2 on this because I'm gonna wrap this up. It's getting a little bit long. But what I want you to do is I want you to write down what you're good at. Of those things, what are the things that you do better than most people, or if not anybody else? You might be the best in the world at it. What are the, like just without even trying? It's no effort. You just good at it like that. What is it doing here? What is it? Teaching. What is it? Writing. What is it? Acting. Figure out what you're good at. Then what I want you to do is I want you to genuinely, this one thing about it too, I've asked some people to do this and they came back to me, so no, and it's not, you're not looking for something to happen immediately. Sometime it might, but what you're looking for is for things to start opening up in your mind and for opportunities around you to start opening up. Go to God and say, Lord, help me to understand what type of individual I am. What is my distinguishing quality? When you created me, what did you send me here for? What did you send me to earth for? Who do you want me to help? What do you want me to make right? What do you want me to improve? Pray that prayer. And if you're genuine in your heart and and then ask that God make you sensitive to it. Sensitive to him. Like this morning I was just praying. I was like, God, let me be sensitive to when you speak to me. Let me be sensitive. Let me hear you, understand you. Let me hear you and understand you. Let me be sensitive to you. Let me hear you. Let me understand you. That was one of my strong prayers this morning, because it's like, what's the point? Like, we just like, hey God, I really need to know this. And then we just like go and don't listen to him. Don't pay attention to his dealings or his voice or anything like that. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this video a little bit short. I may do a part 2 for this. Because I believe it's some more stuff that I need to say, but be you. Be you. Okay. Now, you if there are areas that you need to improve, me too. Join the club. Listen, drop your Instagram below. I'll shoot you a link to the membership website or whatever. We all got some stuff we improving on, but be who God created you. Also, remember this: if people decide that they are attracted to a different group of people or a different type of person that's not you, then that's just what they're attracted to. They have that right. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like you're less than. Don't feel like that you're not enough, or that somebody's better than you. Nobody is better than you. You are you, and that's it. You are one of one. I tell people all the time, you are one of one. There are no more yous. That's why it's important to be who you're supposed to be. Not just being you, be who you're supposed to be. And that's why it's important to tap into God, tap into prayer, tap into, asking him to make you sensitive. about what he's saying. Because the solutions that you bring, now don't get me wrong, if you just totally reject God and things like that, like with Saul. Saul was chosen by God, but he rejected God, and he had David do what Saul couldn't do. And then David had some stuff going on, and he had Solomon do what David couldn't do. So God's work will get done, but while you here and have the opportunity, he wants to use you. Ain't that crazy? I'm like, God, like, won't you just come out here and do it yourself? Like, you want to use me to do something for you? Anyway, make sure y'all subscribe, comment below, share this, like, ask questions. I don't know, rebut me, critique me, say this was stupid, whatever. Give me some feedback. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. Discuss this with people. You know, if you have a group of people that aren't, you know, church, or a group of people that aren't really into God like that, talk to them about that. I ask them, have they ever felt less than standing next to somebody else? Ask them, have they ever felt ask them if they ever felt empty, or if they ever felt like they didn't know why they were here, what their purpose was, and see what kind of conversation they bring up, and then show them this video, and then tell them subscribe and share too. All right, love y'all. Until next time, peace and blessings.